Hi everybody, welcome. I'm Lynn from L&J Goods. I'm so happy to have you here with us today. We're joining you from our brick and mortar shop in Medina, New York at LNJGoods.com. Love it if you would share, like, comment, do all those things that help our channel so much. So I had these pots that I have been just using to display stuff. They were from Christmas a few years back. They're metal. They have a horrible aging job on them, which is true for imported stuff, right? So I decided that I wanted to turn these into some maybe cast iron looking planters. This is the Felicity mold. I have added the Felicity mold to each of these. And what I did here is I glued those molds right onto here, took some cast iron paint, and I just kind of pounced it all over this. No matter if some of that white shows through. So these crackles are going to be done in stages, and you'll see why. This is the one component crackle. It needs to be layered between two colors of paint. Dark color, I'm going to be putting a lighter color over it, and that lighter color that goes on top is what is going to crackle. It's going to react with the base, with this, and create those crackles. Every crackle that I'm using today, you can use any type of finish on it. Apply this medium. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's just like Elmer's glue. No, these are all specifically formulated to give you a certain type of result. Instead of like brushing it on, which will give you longer cracks, I am just going to kind of dab it on. So I have it here and there. I'm going to put some even a little bit over these roses. I'm not going to cover the whole thing with this medium because I want to get a lot of different textures going. See where it's shiny? Set this aside so that it will dry. This is already dried, but can you see those shiny areas? This is going to then crackle in those areas once I apply my top coat. I have mixed up, because I love lots of texture on these. This is Fusion's Victorian Lace, and I've mixed some Fresco texturizing additive into it. I want that kind of chunkier look. I am going to apply this over the whole pot, and again, I'm just putting it on so I have lots of texture all over my pot. It doesn't get completely covered, that's okay. But I want that texture from the Fresco. And it's already starting to crack. Now, if I were to brush this on, your cracks are going to go along the same lines as those brush strokes. I do love a more random application of the paint over top of that one-step crackle. Already, it is starting to crack. Do you see that? Everywhere that I put that one component crackle, it is starting to crack. I'm going to put this one aside to dry. Now, all of this is dry. Look at those cracks on there. But you know what? It's not enough for me. In these other areas, I'm going to be adding the other types of crackle. Okay, let's talk about cracking paste. That's the next product that I'm going to use. This is cracking paste. I'm going to use it with a universal cracking primer. Two components. You've got to have this base coat, which looks like glue, right? In order for this cracking paste to work. Let's put this in some of the areas where I don't have this type of crackle. I'm just adding it here and there in some of those open areas. It's okay if I go a little bit over top of some of that crackle that's already there. I'm okay with that. I have applied that first component, the universal cracking primer. Let me put this one aside. It feels a little tacky after it has dried. Okay, so let's talk about that cracking paste. Use a little palette knife, and I can see where I put that cracking primer. And let me just spread some of this on. The thicker you put it on, the bigger the cracks are going to be.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, really wanna know.
So there it is. It's on there. This will dry. We end up with, so here you see it. This is the cracking paste. It has got such great texture wherever I put it the thickest. It's got deeper cracks. And then here it was a little thinner, and so you can see smaller cracks. So you have some control over how you want your cracks to look. So let's fill in a few of these other little areas, and we're going to use the two-step classic crackle. And when I say classic, here's what I want you to think of. Classic paintings, classic artwork, classic furniture, the old stuff that after it sits around a while, it gets like that crazing in the varnish or crazing in the oil painted finish. That's what I want you to think about. You know what? I have, this is the one step, this is the paste. Now I can easily come in and add some of the classic Crackle two-step in other areas where I might want to overlap a little bit. I might want it just on its own. I'm just looking to get a lot of texture on. Okay, so Megan has dried this. I'm going to go in with my component 2. Now, this classic crackle is super fine. It's almost, like I said, it's like when varnish crackles and crazes. It's tiny little bits of cracks that you see. I'm just going to come back in with some of my fresco and Victorian lace paint. Kind of go over some of these areas where I had that one-step crackle, and it's going to continue to crack even after I put this paint on it. So I'm just trying to kind of blend in all of these areas a little bit before I apply any wax. And I'm even brushing just a little bit of that paint right over my cracking paste. Not filling in the cracks, I just want it kind of over the top of that cracking paste. All of these are going to have, very different looks to them, depending on where I put the crackle, what type of crackle I use, and all of that. Apply a clear wax first. You find it easier to manipulate that dark wax. Okay, then I'll take some dark wax.
Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.
And I'm going to begin to erase that dark wax. And look at how, see how that settles right down into those cracks? And I'll be showing you, there's all those different crackle mediums on here. They're going to give all different textures.
I will keep on holding my head high.
All right. Oh my goodness. Oh my, look at this, you guys. Look at this. This is the one component right here. See that? When it gets layered up, it just adds to the dimension and the effect of the whole thing. There's some more of that one step. There's that one component right there. Then this thicker, chunkier part is our cracking paste. A close-up look all through there. So tiny little classic crackle. Guys, right there, right there. This is the Pentart Rust Effects acrylic paint set. Are you
Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly.
There's 4 different colors of paint. You start with the darkest. Some of this may chip off later. I don't care because I'm going over the wax, but I think that could only add to a beautiful effect on here. So I'm just taking a baby wipe and I'm wiping back some of this. I want some of that rust to kind of almost drip down or look like it's dripping down, but some of it settle into those cracks. And oh, that's so cool. It's so cool. Isn't that neat? It really does look like rust. I would come back in, I'd probably add some, or up under the rim, here and there. I'm just working that back and forth a little bit, working those colors around.
Sometimes we're
Isn't that
crashing
neat?
down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling.
And yes, Debbie has a really cool new box coming in April.
Oh. So you'll learn how to be working on textiles with paint, and it's a custom stencil that I have designed with my friend Joanne from Margaritaville. That'll be launched in this box, and then I'll also be sharing some projects that it can be used with. Canvases, furniture, some really beautiful.
It's really cool.
Look at that, you guys. I mean, doesn't that look like rust on there? So look, there's our rusty pot. I love it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. All the products that I've used today are listed in the description box below at ellenjgoods.com or at our brick and mortar shop in Medina, New York. Tomorrow there's the ROYCYCLED paper release. We've got new JRV papers. I have got a whole collection of custom papers that I designed